The Attorney General, the highest-ranking law enforcement individual in America, deciding to play politics while cops are being hunted and killed. We'll talk with a cop who lost his friend to an executioner in Texas. Mike Huckabee has decided the Supreme Court is not the law of this land. Just 5 lawyers who shouldn't always be paid heed. This while defending the Kentucky county clerk in her defiance of the law. Tom Brady defied Roger Goodell and basically told the NFL commissioner to go stuff his Deflategate investigation. Maybe Goodell's 15 minutes of fame are up and his reign needs deflating. And in telling it like it is, a group of whiny parents who need to worry more about their kids than an exhibitionist pop queen. I'll let you name that tune in 3 notes. I'm Ed Berliner. This is The Hardline for Thursday, September 3rd, 2015.
He was going to retire at the end of the month. His main focus was to keep the Explorer group going. So I met with him Monday for an hour and a half in order to make sure that this would happen. And you know, he texted me at 9 o'clock that night, and I didn't answer him because I talked to him in the next morning. When I got word that an officer was down, the first thing I did was text him, "Hey, Joe, call in right away. We need you." And then I found out it was him.
Discussing the most recent police killing just outside of Chicago. Okay, law enforcement across America is on edge. They are more than ever looking over their collective shoulders, wondering if someone is merely looking to put a notch on their belt to kill a cop. They have good reason to be concerned. Groups and their offshoots, such as Black Lives Matter and other alleged activists, seek to foment more violence against police officers. Add to this things like a Sam Houston State University student by the name of Monica Foy, who's in deep kimchi after tweeting a suggestion that Officer Darren Goforth deserved to be shot because he had, in her words, creepy perv eyes. And these are the people Goforth and his contemporaries are charged to protect. Let's get to work. Our guest is a criminal investigator in the Harris County, Texas Sheriff's Office, member of the black leadership group Project 21, a friend to slain Officer Goforth, Carl Pittman. And we're joined by retired Los Angeles Police Department Sergeant and author of Black and Blue, The Creation of a Manifesto, Cheryl Dorsey. To 2 great people who have protected us over the years, I thank you both for being here. Let's go ahead and discuss this, if you will. And Carl, I want to begin with you. Let's start with the words of the Attorney General, Loretta Lynch. I have spoken to a lot of cops today who are very unhappy that the Attorney General did not come out. She said things about protecting cops and not needing to kill cops, but they're still concerned. They're not happy. They say she needs to be more forceful. We need to be more powerful about this. And they think that basically she played politics on all this, saying that all people need protection, not focusing on cops. What do you think?
Well, I think Attorney General Lynch is in some ways continuing the policies of Mr. Holder. And she's absolutely right. Everyone should be afforded protection and being able to be safe. But law enforcement officers serve a very special purpose in our society. And the fact that right now it appears as though there may be individuals out there hunting law enforcement officers for the purpose of killing is something that I don't think the public at large should be very pleased about. And because there's a very fine line between chaos and society being what we've come to know it as relatively safe.
In your opinion, how close are we to crossing that line between chaos and society?
Well, I think many of the people that are advocating some of these bad behaviors, I think that is still a small majority in this country. But what it's going to take is that silent majority to step up and say, we're not going to take this because this is our collective ability to live in society where you don't feel like every moment you have to look over your shoulder. So I think we're still a ways off, but we don't need to let this go much further.
Sergeant Dorsey, I know that you have been on the streets as well. You know what it's like there, and you see what's happening right now across America. To many people, there is a feeling that groups such as Black Lives Matter and others, they are homegrown terrorists. They are pushing this forward. They are holding marches saying, fry the bacon. And no matter one thing they say, just one, is just enough to push somebody over the edge and kill a cop. Would you agree with those people who feel that way?
Well, no, I don't agree with that, Ed. I don't think it's fair to blame the Black Lives Matter movement for what's happened with Deputy Goforth. I think that we have one individual who did a very horrific thing, and there are certain elements of society that are just bound to commit criminal offenses. And so I don't think it's fair to broad blanket brush everyone who speaks out because of the injustices that are happening in the Black and brown community and somehow blame them for what this mentally ill young man did. And he is mentally ill.
Granted, indeed he is, but what about this entitled arrogance, as I call it? Because we have people now stepping out of vehicles to confront officers, to push against them, to try to start physical confrontations with them now. It seems to be happening more now than ever before, and there are people who say, look, you can't just blame this on what has been going on for decades. Something's happening right now that's pushing the public forward to try and get the cops' ire up and start a confrontation.
Well, I can't speak to the intent of anyone who challenges a police officer. And of course, my best advice is to always comply with an officer's directive because they know things that you may not. And again, I don't think it's fair to blame the actions of one on the actions of all. And so I think what we're seeing is a frustration because of a lack of accountability on the part of bad officers who do things. And it would appear that it's manifesting itself in some kind of a retaliation, but I can't speak to that with any specificity or assurance.
All right, let me get it to you, Carl, because we come down to then accountability. Look, I've said it on this show many times. I'll say it again right here. There are bad cops. You punish them. You fine them. But is this all about what has been happening through this lack of accountability, if you were? Or is there something else at work here that now has people seemingly looking, as I said earlier, to put the notch on the belt and kill a cop?
Well, it's something very strange, I think, is happening. We have a culture, particularly of younger people who have come up in an environment where discipline has been lacking. And, I do not believe that a police officer that goes out and acts badly, breaks the law, they should be treated, prosecuted just like anyone else. There should not be some different standard. And I think if we were more upfront about getting that done, I think that might quiet some of the anger. But this is something that has been building for many years. And I think, quite frankly, some people are trying to play catch up, and they think that now is the opportunity to do just that. And I think it's a very dangerous environment for not only police officers. We have individuals out there calling for the execution of just white people. And so this is getting very dangerous, and we need to do something about it.
Sergeant Dorsey, I know I'm going to take a lot of heat for this, but I'm going to go ahead and push this forward. Let's talk about that lack of discipline, that accountability. What about the communities themselves? What about the fact that they've got to make changes, that they've got to stop? The pictures we saw, people throwing rocks in riots. We've had a report now of an individual who shoved a knife into the hood of a police car right now. We have all these things happening. What about that? And what about Black Lives Matter, the original founders of this, getting out in front of the media and saying, wait, this is not us. Stop and do it peacefully. We don't see that, Sergeant.
Well, I certainly don't speak for Black Lives Matter, so I can't.
But your opinion on it,
Well, what I think is that by and large, wholesale, what the majority of the Black and brown community wants is they want accountability on the part of the officers. I'm not hearing personally Black Lives Matter advocating violence against police officers. And I recently heard a statistic that truthfully, in the last 3 years, the 158 police officers who have been killed, 55 of the culprits have been male whites.
But we're talking about recently now. We are talking about recently. You will admit that there is some sort of a growth factor here. We have seen this happen in a small time frame here, but more cops seemingly being killed and targeted, yes?
Well, we're certainly seeing officers killed in the line of duty, but I can't say with a certainty that they're being targeted. We have a mentally ill young man who did a very terrible thing. And so that's what it is for me. That's it and nothing more. A mentally ill man who probably should not have had access to a weapon. So let's talk about that.
Okay, we unfortunately only have about a minute left here, but you're right. We need to talk about that at another time. But let me come to you now, Carl. And you heard Sergeant Dorsey talking about the mentally ill. We get all that. But in your opinion, is there now a targeting? Do you sense a targeting from not just the black community, but every community to go out and kill the cop? Or are we just blowing this out of proportion?
Well, I'm surely not going to say that we should lump this off on the black community, because I absolutely do not believe that is true. I do not believe everyone involved in the Black Lives Matters would sanction any of this. But I do believe the rhetoric that we have heard as of recently, the march where they were chanting "pig in a blanket, fry 'em like bacon," you know, that is a very, very dangerous rhetoric where someone that might be easily manipulated might follow through and try to carry something like that out. So,
would you say what's missing, though, Carl, is the fact, as I said, I only got 20 seconds left here, but the people who run Black Lives Matter, we don't hear them out in front of the camera saying, this is not us. We need you to stop this. Where are they?
Well, no, we're not hearing that. In fact, the leader of that march got out and said that they were just joking by that chant. And I didn't find it to be funny.
Look, I think what we're both going to agree on here is there is no joke going on here. Whether it's a cop, whether it's anybody, it's wrong. But there is no joke here about what cops are under right now and the fears that they face and the things that they face on the streets every day. We have to continue to address that. This has been excellent. We're going to do this again. Carl Pittman, Sergeant Cheryl Dorsey, thank you so much for your time. And please, to you and your friends, be safe. On deck, attacking Donald Trump the only way some candidates know how. It's next on The Hardline.